Hello and welcome to another of Satoshi's 365 days of Bitcoin history. Today's day is Monday the 13th of November 2023, the year of BSV. Buy BSV.live, the best place to buy Bitcoin SV online, the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Here we go, let's get into it. So let's see what happened on the 13th of November in Bitcoin history. So now we're going back to November 13th, 2008. And remember, this is prior to the launch of the network, which is on the 3rd of January 2009. So these email exchanges were literally straight after the white paper had been released. So people were generally interested in it from the get-go. And what's interesting about these emails is, if we go to the top, there we go. So we start here from the 13th of November. So this is the first time I've ever seen a reference to BitGold, and again there was all this, kerfuffle about who created it. Nick Szabo came up with the concept of BitGold, blah 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 blah. But there's just a reference to BitGold in this email. But there is also a reference to the Byzantine generals problem, and this I think is the first time that both those concepts are referenced in relation to Bitcoin. So that's kind of like quite an interesting part. There were quite a few emails that just sort of like continue here, just discussing it, and they were talking about the longest chain. Here we go. The proof of work chain is a solution to the Byzantine generals problem. And I think this is Craig saying, I'll try to rephrase it in that context. He said a number of Byzantine generals each have a computer and want to attack the king's Wi-Fi by brute forcing the password, which they've learnt is a certain number of characters in length. Once they stimulate the network to generate a packet, they must crack the password within a limited time to break in and erase the logs. Otherwise, they'll be discovered and get in trouble. They only have enough CPU power to crack it fast enough if a majority of them attack at the same time. They don't particularly care when the attack will be, just that they all agree. It has to be decided that anyone who feels like it will announce a time, and whatever time is heard first will be the official attack time. The problem is that the network is not instantaneous, and if two generals announce different attack times at close to the same time, some may hear one first and others hear the other first. They use proof of work chain to solve the problem. Once each general receives whatever attack time he hears first, he sets his computer to solve an extremely difficult proof of work problem that includes the attack time in its hash. The proof of work is so difficult it's expected to take 10 minutes of them all working at once before one of them finds a solution. Once one of the generals finds a proof of work, he broadcasts it to the network, and everyone changes their current proof of work computation to include that proof of work in the hash they're working on. If anyone was working on a different attack time, they switch to this one because its proof of work chain is now longer. And there are some more emails that go on, but it's quite interesting hearing them within this. If you actually read the whole dialogue, they're discussing, which chain they should follow, and whether they should keep replica chains on the computer and follow whichever one turns out to be the longest. But what's interesting in this is the fact that there's no economic discussion here just yet. None. It's all sort of like working out which one is the correct chain. So he said, there's a quote here saying, I think that this way, when a candidate chain is deleted because it got too much shorter than the longest one, transactions in it are not lost but have continued to be present in the pending transaction list associated with the longest chain. In those nodes which heard the original transaction broadcast, it goes on and gets a little bit technical, but there's no economic analysis here. So really, you've got like a bunch of techies just discussing how they can identify the legitimate chain. Whereas now, I don't know anybody else is talking about this apart from myself. The legitimate chain, and again, this was actually solved after we had the 51% attack, where you have like an ambassador, like the Bitcoin Association, saying, actually, this is the genuine chain. But literally, the genuine chain has simply got economic competition, a chain of digital signatures, because they have to be intact, which takes out BTC and BCH, it has to have a locked protocol, unbounded scale, and a locked, a fixed token supply. So really, you're either mining the protocol or you're not, because there's no point in mining a different protocol that's exactly the same, because it's the same thing. So a different protocol has to have a different rule set. And if you change the rule set in Bitcoin, you securitize it and remove all of its contractual credibility and economic value. So that's what I would take away from that. But kind of like more of a more lighter-hearted note, on this day, on the 13th of November 2010, Craig Wright, as Satoshi Nakamoto, famously wrote, "I'm happy if someone with artistic skills wants to contribute alternatives." And this is regarding the logo. The icon stroke logo was meant to be good at an icon, as an icon at 16 by 16 and 20 by 20 pixel sizes. I think it's best. I think it's the best program icon, but there's room for improvement at large sizes for a graphic for use on websites. It would be a lot simpler if authors could make their graphics public domain. And I think I've got the email right here. Yeah, here we go. 13th of November 2010. I'm happy if someone with artistic skills wants to contribute alternatives. That's been very, very generous there. The icon logo was meant to be good at an icon at the 16 by 16 and 20 by 20 pixel sizes. So let's have a quick look at what the initial, or when he initially created a logo. So the white paper was released on the 31st of October 2008. The network was started on the 3rd of January 2009, and it was on the 9th of January 2009 that Dr. Craig Wright creates the first ever Bitcoin logo depicted as a gold coin with the letters BC inscribed on it. Check it out! Check it out! There we go. So that was the initial logo that Craig came up with on the 9th of January 2009. I think that actually looks pretty good, actually. I quite like that one. But then later, just down here, so this was on the 24th of February 2009, it says here Satoshi Nakamoto came up with a new Bitcoin logo, which saw the replacement of the BC text with a B embedded in a gold coin. And I think that's it. There we go. So that was the 24th of February 2009. I actually think that looks pretty good. And then on the 13th of November 2010, he's just like, look, I'll be happy if somebody else wants to have another go at it. And then, if we look at here, so it was on the 1st of November 2010, where the original logo created by Satoshi Nakamoto was updated by user BitBoy, and again, that's not to be confused with the social influencer BitBoy Crypto, Ben Armstrong, to celebrate the second anniversary release of the Bitcoin white paper on the 31st of October 2008. The B was made white with the background made orange, and then set on these values there. But would you believe it? So it looks like we've literally almost gone full circle. So we started off with a straight B, and then sort of like it went crooked B leaning forward, then it went another crooked B leaning back, and now we're back to the original logo, which I think I actually prefer. How cool is that? Yeah, much should we say? I think that's awesome. So there we go. That was a bit of Bitcoin history for you today. Hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.